The massive alien research ship Quantum Dawn drifted silently through the darkness of space. Its hull gleamed with a soft blue light that marked it as a vessel of the Galactic Council. Inside the ship, Captain Velthara stood on the bridge, her tall frame covered in smooth gray skin that changed color with her emotions. Right now, patches of worried yellow flickered across her arms. "Captain, we have found something," called Dr. Nixara from her station. The scientist's crystal-like features sparkled as she worked at her controls. "There is a ship ahead." Badly damaged? Velthara moved to look at the main screen. Strange vessel floated in the void, its metal hull torn and burned. Smoke still leaked from several holes in its side. The ship looked nothing like the elegant curves of council vessels. This one was built with hard angles and thick armor, as if whoever made it expected it to be shot at. "What do our records say about this ship?" Velthara asked. Dr. Nixara's skin went pale blue with worry. "The markings show it comes from a world we call a Class X Deathworld. Captain, no council member has ever visited such a place. Our computers say nothing can live there." Security Chief Kolvek stepped forward. His body was covered in natural armor plates that clicked softly when he moved. "The ship has weapons, but they are simple. Whoever built this expected to fight." At close range, Velthara felt a shiver run through her. Fighting at close range was something no civilized being ever did. "Are there survivors?" "Yes, Captain. 5 life forms in emergency sleep chambers. Their life support is failing fast." Velthara made her decision. "We board the ship. Dr. Nixara, bring your medical equipment. Kolvek, come armed, but do not threaten them. We are here to help." The boarding tunnel connected the two ships with a soft hiss. As they stepped onto the alien vessel, Velthara immediately felt uncomfortable. The corridors were narrow and low, built for creatures smaller than most council races, but more disturbing were the details. Emergency medical kits lined the walls, filled with tools designed to treat terrible injuries. Weapons lockers stood open, their contents scattered from the recent battle. "This ship was built for war," Kolvek said quietly. "Look at these walls. They're designed to stop energy weapons. And these floors, they have channels cut into them." Dr. Nixara knelt beside one of the channels. "These are for blood to drain away. Captain, whoever built this ship expected people to be badly hurt inside it. They found the sleep chambers in the ship's center. 5 transparent tubes held the survivors, their bodies floating in a blue healing liquid. As Dr. Nixara worked to wake them safely, Velthara studied the sleeping forms. They looked so fragile compared to the strong races of the Council. Their skin was soft and unmarked, their bodies small and seemingly weak. How did such delicate creatures survive on a death world? She wondered aloud. The first chamber opened with a soft beep. The creature inside opened its eyes, and Velthara gasped. Those eyes held an intelligence that was sharp and aware, even after the deep sleep. The being sat up smoothly, its movements controlled and careful. "Thank you for helping us," the creature said in broken council language. "I am Captain Li Jun of the Terran Colonial Defense Force." More chambers opened. The 5 beings climbed out, and Velthara noticed they moved with perfect balance, even in the artificial gravity. Their muscles were dense and strong, much more powerful than they first appeared. "We are grateful for rescue," Li Jun continued. "Our home colony was attacked by raiders. We escaped, but our ship was damaged." Dr. Nixara ran her medical scanner over the humans, trying not to stare at the readings. These creatures had 2 hearts, backup organs, and bones that were incredibly strong. Their blood carried oxygen more efficiently than anything in council records. "Your world," Dr. Nixara asked carefully. "What is it like?" Engineer Parkman laughed, a sound that made all the aliens step back. "Earth. It is always trying to kill us. We have storms that destroy cities, animals with claws and teeth that can cut through metal, diseases that change faster than we can cure them. Earthquakes split the ground open," added Medic Namsu. "Volcanoes fill the air with poison. The weather can freeze you solid or burn you alive." Communications Officer Choi Wan nodded. "Ocean waves tall as buildings. Winds that can throw vehicles through the air. But it is a beautiful world. We love it." Marine Sergeant Kim Hai was checking her weapons, her movements practiced and quick. Earth made us strong. Every generation that survived was tougher than the last. We learned to work together because nothing else cared if we lived or died. The aliens exchanged frightened looks. These humans spoke of planetary disasters as if they were normal daily events. Velthara began to understand why the Council had marked their world as impossible to survive on. "How many of your people live on this death world?" Kolvek asked. "About 8 billion, Li Jun replied casually. Dr. Nixaris's scanner fell from her suddenly weak grip. 8 billion individuals living on a world that could destroy entire civilizations. What kind of species were these humans? As if reading her thoughts, Li Jun smiled. "We are survivors, Dr. Nixara. It is what we do best." The quiet of space around the quantum dawn was broken by 3 dark shapes appearing from hyperspace. The alien research ship sensors screamed warnings as the massive vessels took attack positions. These were not the curved, peaceful designs of Council ships. These were angular warships built for one purpose: destruction. Captain Velthara felt her skin turn deep red with alarm as she recognized the ships. "Hegemony destroyers," she whispered. The hegemony was known throughout the galaxy as a cruel empire that conquered worlds and enslaved entire species. "Incoming transmission," reported the communications officer, his voice shaking. The main screen flickered to life, showing a being in dark armor. Its face was hidden behind a metal mask, but its voice was cold and threatening. "Galactic Council vessel, you are carrying specimens that belong to the hegemony. Give them to us now, or we will take them by force." Captain Li Jun stepped forward, his human face hardening with anger. "Specimens. We are refugees seeking protection under Council law. We have done nothing wrong." A harsh laugh came from the screen. "Deathworlders do not have rights. Your species will serve in our armies or die. The choice is yours." Dr. Nixara moved closer to the humans, her scientific mind working quickly. "They want to use you as soldiers. The hegemony has been capturing beings from dangerous worlds and forcing them to fight." "Over my dead body," Marine Sergeant Kim Hai said quietly, her hand moving to her weapon. The hegemony commander's voice turned even colder. "That can be arranged. You have 30 seconds to surrender the humans, or we will destroy your ship and take them from the wreckage." Velthara looked at her crew, then at the humans, the Council. Taught peace and understanding? But these raiders would show no mercy. "We refuse," she said firmly. "These beings are under our protection." "Then you will all die together," the hegemony commander replied. And the screen went dark. Immediately, red energy beams lanced out from the 3 warships. The quantum dawn shook violently as its shields absorbed the attacks. Sparks flew from control panels, and the lights flickered. "Shields down to 60%, Security Chief Kolvek reported, his armor plates rattling with each impact. "Captain, we are a research ship. We cannot fight 3 destroyers." Engineer Parkman was already moving toward the door. "Permission to help with ship defense," Velthara hesitated. Council protocols avoided violence whenever possible. But with their ship dying around them, she had no choice. "Granted. Do whatever you can." What happened next shocked every alien on the bridge. The humans did not run to the escape pods or try to hide. Instead, they scattered throughout the ship, gathering weapons and equipment. Li Jun coordinated his team with the calm efficiency of someone who had done this many times before. "Kim Hai, secure the main corridors. Parkman, get to engineering and prepare the ship for boarding. Nam Su, set up a medical station in the cargo bay. Choi Wan, help me with the weapon systems." Dr. Nixara followed the humans in amazement. "What are you doing?" "Seeking shelter?" Minak Namsu looked up from her equipment, surprised by the question. "Shelter. Doctor, they are going to board our ship. We need to be ready to fight them." "Board our ship?" The alien scientist's crystal features went pale. "But why would they do that?" "'Cause they want us alive," Kim Hai explained while checking her weapon. "Dead humans are no good to them. It will disable the ship, board it, and try to capture us." The concept was so alien to Dr. Nixara that she could barely understand it. Council species fought with ships and technology, keeping their distance from enemies. The idea of deliberately preparing for hand-to-hand combat inside their own vessel was terrifying, Another wave of energy hit the ship, and the artificial gravity fluctuated. Several aliens fell to the floor, but the humans moved with the shifting gravity as if they had expected it. "Shields at 20%, Kolvek announced. "Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. Parkman was already working on the ship's internal systems. "I am rerouting power and changing the artificial gravity in the corridors. It will make it harder for boarders to move around." "You are sabotaging our own ship," Velthara asked in disbelief. "We are making it fight for us," Li Jun replied. "Every advantage we can get." Through the ship's sensors, they watched as the hegemony vessels launched boarding pods, small armored craft designed to punch through a ship's hull and deliver soldiers directly inside. The pods moved fast, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. "Here they come," Kim Hai said, checking her equipment one final time. "Remember, they want us alive, which means they will hesitate to use their strongest weapons. We will not hesitate." The first boarding pod struck the ship's hull with a thunderous crash. Emergency alarms filled the air as the pod's cutting beams began burning through the outer armor. More pods followed, hitting different sections of the ship. Dr. Nixara huddled behind a control panel, her body shaking with fear. In all her years of peaceful research, she had never imagined being in a battle. But as she watched the humans prepare to defend the ship, she felt something she had never experienced before: the will to fight for something important. The cutting beams finished their work, and the boarding pods opened with metallic clangs. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors as hegemony. Soldiers began moving through the ship. The battle for the Quantum Dawn had begun, the hegemony. Soldiers poured out of their boarding pods like a dark tide. Each warrior stood over 7 feet tall, their bodies enhanced with genetic modifications that made them stronger and faster than most galactic species. Their armor gleamed with energy shields, and their weapons could cut through steel. They had conquered dozens of worlds using these same tactics. But as they stepped into the corridors of the Quantum Dawn, something felt wrong. The ship's artificial gravity kept changing, making the heavy soldiers stumble and fall. The lights flickered on and off, casting strange shadows that moved and shifted. The air was thick with smoke and chemical smells that burned their eyes and made breathing difficult. "What is this?" demanded squad leader Vextel as his troops struggled to maintain formation. "Why does this ship fight against us?" In the engineering section, Parkman worked frantically at the control panels. He had turned the ship's own systems into weapons. The artificial gravity became a trap, the life support became a weapon, and the emergency systems became tools of war. His hands moved quickly over controls that were never meant to be used this way. "Environmental controls at 60%, he reported through his communicator. "I can make it harder for them to breathe, but I cannot stop them completely."
Ow.
Through the ship's maintenance tunnels, Kim Hai moved like a shadow. The tunnels were barely wide enough for humans, but impossible for the larger hegemony soldiers to use. She appeared in corridors behind the enemy troops, fired quick bursts from her weapon, then disappeared back into the tunnels before they could react. "How is she doing that?" a hegemony soldier asked his leader. She appears and vanishes like a ghost. The aliens had never seen tactics like this. Most galactic warfare happened in open space with ships and energy weapons. Fighting inside a damaged vessel, using the ship itself as a weapon, was something no military academy had ever taught. Dr. Nixara watched through the ship's internal cameras, her scientific mind trying to understand what she was seeing. The humans were not just fighting, they were adapting to every change in the battle. When the hegemony soldiers blocked one corridor, the humans found another way. When their weapons were damaged, they made new ones from ship parts, in the medical bay. Nam Su had created something that would have horrified any council ethics committee. She had turned her healing tools into weapons, using her knowledge of alien biology to create gases that would make the hegemony soldiers sick without killing them. "I do not understand," she said to a wounded alien crew member. "Your people have such advanced technology, but you never learned to fight like this." The alien, one of Kolvek's security team, winced as she treated his injuries. "We have been peaceful for thousands of years. We forgot that sometimes peace must be defended with force." Communications Officer Choi Wan coordinated the defense from the ship's command center. His calm voice guided the other humans through the battle, sharing information and changing tactics as needed. When hegemony soldiers cut the main communication lines, he switched to backup systems. When those failed, he used the ship's internal maintenance network. Enemy squad moving to Deck 7, he reported. Kim Hai, can you intercept? Already. There came her reply, followed by the sound of weapons fire. The hegemony troops had expected an easy victory. Their enhanced bodies and superior weapons should have made quick work of any resistance. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow the rules of civilized warfare. Captain, Li Jun appeared in a corridor filled with smoke, his weapon firing as he moved. A hegemony soldier tried to catch him, but Li rolled under the alien's reach and struck back with moves no council database had ever recorded. The human fighting style was brutal and efficient, using every part of the body as a weapon. Stand still and fight, the frustrated soldier shouted. Why would I do that? Li replied, disappearing around a corner. That would be stupid. Squad leader Vexel realized his troops were losing. These humans fought like nothing in hegemony experience. They used their environment, adapted constantly, and seemed to have no fear of injury or death. Worse, they were making the ship itself fight against the boarding party. This is impossible, he said into his communicator. They are using tactics. That should not work. How can 5 primitives defeat 40 enhanced soldiers? The answer came from Dr. Nixera, who had been studying the humans since they first met. They are not fighting to win, she said to Captain Valthera. They are fighting. To survive, there is a difference. In the cargo bay, the final confrontation began. The remaining hegemony soldiers had gathered there, thinking to make their last stand in the ship's largest open space. But Parkman had prepared for this too. The cargo bay's loading equipment became weapons, its storage containers became shields, and its transport systems became traps. The battle lasted only minutes. But when it ended, the surviving hegemony soldiers were retreating to their boarding pods in panic. They had never faced an enemy like this, beings who turned weakness into strength, who used their environment as a weapon, who fought with a determination that bordered on insanity. As the last boarding pod detached from the ship, Kim Hai slumped against a wall, her armor cracked and her weapon empty. Are they gone? Yes, Choi Won confirmed, monitoring the sensors. They are returning to their ships. Dr. Nixara found the humans in various parts of the ship, all of them injured, but still alert. What amazed her most was that they continued to function with wounds that would have put any council species into medical stasis. How? She asked Namsu, who was treating Parkman's broken arm without any pain medication. Practice the medic, replied simply. Taught us that pain is just information. It tells you something is wrong, but it does not have to stop you from doing what needs to be done. The silence after battle felt strange to everyone aboard the Quantum Dawn. Smoke drifted through the corridors where the fighting had taken place. Emergency lights cast red shadows on walls marked with burn marks from energy weapons. Both alien and human crew members moved carefully through the damaged ship. Helping the wounded and checking for hidden enemies, Dr. Nixara found herself working beside medic Nam Su in what remained of the medical bay. Her crystalline hands shook as she tried to understand the readings from her medical scanner. The human woman continued treating patients, even though she had a deep cut on her shoulder that should have made her unconscious from pain. This is not possible, Dr. Nixara whispered, staring at her instruments. Think. Your injury needs immediate surgery, but you are still working. Sue looked up from bandaging an alien crew member's wounds. Surgery can wait. People need help now. She moved to the next patient without showing any sign of the pain she must have been feeling. The alien doctor watched in amazement as Sue treated both human and alien wounded with equal care. Her movements were steady and sure. Her knowledge of different species biology impressive for someone from a world that had never met aliens before. How do you know so much about our anatomy? Dr. Nixera asked. I studied your medical data while you were treating us earlier, Namsu replied. Your healing systems are similar to ours in some ways. Pain is pain, injury is injury. The details change, but the principles stay the same. In the ship's workshop, Captain Velthara watched Engineer Parkman work with his broken arm held carefully. Against his body, he was rebuilding damaged ship systems using parts that were never meant to work together. His good hand moved quickly over controls while his injured arm stayed motionless. "You should be in medical treatment," Velthara said, her skin showing colors of concern and confusion. Parkman looked up from his work, sweat beading on his forehead. "The ship needs repairs more than I need a cast. Namsu already checked the break. It is clean and will heal properly. Work first, comfort later. But the pain means I am still alive," Parkman said simply. "On Earth, we learn that you can work through pain, think through pain, even fight through pain. It is just another piece of information your body gives you." Velthara tried to understand this concept. In council culture, pain was something to be avoided and immediately treated. The idea of continuing to work while injured seemed almost insane. Security Chief Kolvek found himself studying recordings of the battle, trying to make sense of what he had witnessed. His tactical training included combat scenarios from across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared him for human fighting methods. "They do not fight like soldiers," he said to Captain Velthara when she joined him. "Soldiers follow rules, use proven tactics, maintain formations. These humans, they improvise constantly." On the screen, they watched Kim Hai appear from a maintenance tunnel, attack a group of hegemony troops, then disappear again before the enemies could respond. Her movements were fluid and unpredictable, never following the same pattern twice. "Watch how she uses the environment," Kolvek continued. "That wall panel becomes a shield. Those loose cables become a trap. Even the ship's artificial gravity becomes a weapon when Parkman changes the settings. They turn everything into a tool for survival," Velthara observed. Communications Officer Choi Wan joined them, moving slowly because of his own injuries. During the battle, he had continued coordinating the defense, even after taking damage that should have knocked him unconscious. Now he worked on repairing the ship's communication systems with steady hands. "Your people," Velthara said to him. "You fight like your lives depend on it." "'Cause they do," Choi Wan replied, without looking up from his work. "On Earth, everything wants to kill you. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the ground under your feet. We learn to fight for every day we stay alive." Dr. Nixara approached the group, her scanner still in her hands. "I have been studying their biology," she announced. "These humans are unlike anything in our databases. Every system in their bodies is designed for survival in impossible conditions." She activated a holographic display showing human anatomy. "Look at this. 2 hearts that can work independently, backup kidneys, bones that are 4 times denser than ours, blood that carries oxygen more efficiently than any known species. Their brains are the most interesting part," she continued. "They have sections that we do not possess, areas designed for rapid problem-solving under stress, for processing multiple threats simultaneously, for making quick decisions when normal thought would be too slow." Captain Lee Jun entered the workshop, his uniform torn and dirty from the battle. He had been checking on every member of both crews, making sure everyone was safe before taking care of his own needs. "Captain Lee," Velthara said formally, "we owe you and your people a great debt. Without your help, we would all be dead or captured." Lee Jun shook his head. "We helped each other. That is what civilized beings do. But your methods," Kolvek began, "are not civilized by your standards," Lee Jun finished. "I understand. We learn to fight because our world gave us no choice. But we do not fight because we enjoy violence. We fight to protect what matters: our families, our friends, our values." Dr. Nixara looked at her scanner one more time. "Your species has spent millions of years learning to survive. Every generation that lived passed on their strength to the next. You are the result of countless tests that would have destroyed other species. Earth made us what we are," Namsu said, joining the group. "But we chose what to do with that strength. We could have become conquerors like the hegemony. Instead, we chose to protect others." Through the ship's sensors, they could see the hegemony fleet regrouping in the distance. The aliens knew this battle was not over. The hegemony fleet appeared. On the sensors, like a storm of death, massive warships moved in perfect formation, their dark hulls bristling with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Admiral Krekstar commanded this force from his flagship, and he was not making the same mistakes as his advanced troops. "No more boarding attempts," he announced to his fleet commanders. "These Deathworlders are too dangerous in close combat. We destroy the ship completely and recover what remains of their bodies for study." Captain Valthara watched the enemy fleet approach and felt her skin turn pale with fear. The Quantum Dawn was barely holding together after the first battle. Its shields were damaged, its hull was cracked, and half the ship's systems were running. "On emergency power," Captain Security Chief Kolvek reported. "Even if we were at full strength, we could not fight 12 warships. We need to surrender or run." "We cannot run," Engineer Parkman said from his position at the engineering controls. "Our hyperdrive was damaged in the first battle. It will take hours to repair." Captain Lee Jun studied the tactical display, his mind working quickly. "Then we make our stand here." "Captain Valthera, do you trust us?" The alien captain looked at the 5 humans who had already saved her ship once. They were wounded and tired, but their eyes still held the same determination she had seen during the first battle. "What do you need?" she asked. "Give us control of your ship's systems," Lee Jun said. "All of them. Weapons, shields, life support, everything. We are going to teach your crew to fight like Deathworlders." What followed was the strangest hour in Galactic Council history. The humans worked with incredible speed to modify every system on the ship. Dr. Nixara found herself helping to turn her scientific equipment into weapons. Her knowledge of biology became a tool for creating gases that would disable enemy soldiers. Without killing them? "I am a healer," she protested as Namsu showed her how to modify medical equipment. "Today you heal by protecting the innocent," Namsu replied. "Sometimes the best medicine is preventing injury before it happens." Security. Chief Kolvek learned tactics that violated every military rule he had ever studied. Kim Hai taught him to use the ship's own structure as a weapon, to create ambush points in corridors, and to think like a predator instead of a guard. "Your council fights like prey animals," Kim Hai explained, as she showed him how to set traps. "You run from danger and call for help. But sometimes there is no help coming. Sometimes you must become the danger." Communications Officer Choi Wan worked with the ship's technical crew to create new communication methods. When the hegemony jammed their normal channels, they switched to using the ship's power grid to carry messages. When that failed, they used the air circulation system to carry sound. "Every system can be a tool," Choi Wan explained to the amazed aliens. "You just need to think differently about what things are for." Parkman performed miracles in the engineering section. He connected systems that were never meant to work together, rerouted power through damaged circuits, turned the ship's scientific equipment into a weapon array that could punch through military armor. "Your people built this ship to explore and learn," he told Captain Valthera. "But everything that helps you explore can also help you fight. Sensors find enemies. Communication systems coordinate attacks. Even your food replicators can make chemical weapons if you know how." The aliens watched in amazement as their peaceful research vessel transformed into something that could fight. But more importantly, they felt themselves changing too. Dr. Nixara no longer flinched when she heard weapons fire. Kolvek moved through the corridors with the confidence of a predator. Even Captain Valthara found herself thinking in terms of tactics and survival instead of protocols and procedures. When the hegemony fleet opened fire, they expected to destroy the council ship quickly. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that fought back with impossible effectiveness. The Quantum Dawn dodged attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. Its weapons hit targets with accuracy that defied the ship's damaged condition. Its shields absorbed punishment that should have broken them. "How are they doing this?" Admiral Krekstar demanded, as his fleet's perfectly coordinated attack began to fall apart. The answer was simple, but revolutionary. The humans had taught the aliens to stop thinking like civilized beings and start thinking like survivors. Every decision was made quickly, without committees or protocols. Every crew member became a warrior when needed. Every system on the ship became a weapon when required. When hegemony boarding pods launched, despite the Admiral's orders, they found the ship's corridors had become a maze of death. The aliens fought alongside the humans with determination that shocked the invaders Dr. Nixara used her medical knowledge to disable enemies without killing them. Kolvek moved through the ship like a natural predator. Even the ship's technical crew fought with tools it learned to use as weapons. The battle raged for what felt like hours but lasted only minutes. When it ended, half the hegemony fleet was disabled or destroyed. The survivors fled into hyperspace. Their reports of the battle so unbelievable that Hegemony Command would spend years trying to understand what had happened. In the aftermath, Captain Velthara stood on her damaged bridge beside Captain Li Jun. Both leaders had been changed by what they had experienced together. "Your people taught us something important," Velthara said quietly. "True peace is not the absence of conflict. It is having the strength to protect what matters when conflict cannot be avoided." Li Jun nodded, watching as human and alien crew members worked together to repair their ship. Survival is not about being the strongest or the smartest. It's about caring enough to keep fighting when everything seems hopeless. The Quantum Dawn limped toward Council space, carrying the seeds of a new alliance between species who had learned that sometimes the greatest act of civilization is the willingness to fight for it.